Do you guys still work 7 days a week?
No. No way, Chris. we're not that young anymore. We stopped the 7 days from the old restaurant. So the old restaurant was 7 days all the way until 2018.
Welcome to the Montclair podcast. This is Chris, your host. Today we have Chef Rydo Anton. So Rydo is originally from Indonesia, where he was raised. He has been the head chef for the Gaggan restaurant in Bangkok for the past over 10 years, for 11 years now. So today we are very lucky to get an hour of Rydo's time, and we will dive straight into it. So this is my episode with Rydo Anton from Gaggan in Bangkok. Let's go. Welcome to the show. Today we have Rydo Anton. Rydo, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Chris, for inviting me for this podcast.
Look, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy and you don't have much time for yourself. So I'm very grateful that we can have let's say an hour together to talk a little bit about your journey and your accomplishments.
Yes, of course.
So Rydo, for those that don't know you, you are the executive chef at Gaggan's restaurant in Bangkok, and you have been working there for many years, and we'll dive into this a little bit later. But first of all, you're originally from Indonesia, right?
Yeah, I'm originally from Indonesia. Yeah.
So you grew up in Jakarta, is that correct?
I grew up in Jakarta, but until I grew up in different parts of Indonesia, Jakarta, Semarang. Yeah, two cities that I still remember because I was still a very young kid. And I moved out when I was 11 years old. I moved up to Malaysia.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Rydo, you became a chef. How come? What made you become a chef?
So again, I take you back. Since I left Indonesia when I was 11, I only lived in Malaysia with my brother. So about 5 years, I stayed with my brother because I was studying as well. And my parents, especially my mom, she would only come by like once in a year or sometimes once in 2 years. They were very busy at that time.
Yeah.
So most of the time we would get food from like the school canteen, or maybe we order something, but nothing fancy, nothing so serious about the food. It's always something that can just fill up your stomach,
Yeah.
when you were like that young. And my brother was only like 15.
So he was younger than you, or was he older than you?
He was older than me. He's 15, and I'm like 11 at the time, 11, 12. Yeah. And it comes to a point when you start ordering these food and then you become bored out of it, and then the school's canteen is just the same thing every single week, and you start missing your mom's cooking, right? It's I think what really brought me to try to cook myself at that certain age when I was like 12 or 13, it's the memories I have on certain dishes that my mom makes.
Yeah.
And one of them, what was I trying to make that time? One of them was the tempeh. You know tempeh?
Yeah.
Tempeh is the local Indonesian staple of the soybean that's already like slightly molded. And then you can braise it, you can fry it, you can eat it with the sambal. And I miss that because it's so simple. But it was very difficult to find tempeh in Malaysia because it's not in their culture. Yeah. So in the end, at that age, I tried to replicate by deep frying it, which is the easiest way. And I ended up burning it, like totally burnt, because I didn't know the temperature of the oil. Plus I had no dippings like sambal like that. I couldn't make my own sambal, right? So it started from there. And again, after that day, I try another time. Like I would call my mom, can you help me out with this fried tempeh? And she would tell me like, this is the temperature, how you have to fry it, and don't need to make your own sambal. Try to find it in the store first, and after that, eat it. So I think it's all about the memory of the dishes.
It's the emotion that are tied up to the dishes. Yeah, I understand.
body needs it. Your body wants it. Your memory is just, still
Yeah.
attached. So yeah.
So how did you decide to become a chef? Just after this, you're like, okay, like now I need to understand this better. I
Yeah.
need to improve. Or it's very interesting for me. Like, what was the idea behind it?
Yeah. So after that, since that day, I started to learn more dishes, and I find things that I can do myself at home to cook for myself if I want something, and also for my brothers. Obviously, my brother would help too. So in the end, I was, sometimes in school, it's either you are a nerd. I'm not saying that, like you read a lot of books, like
Yeah.
educationally, like book smart, or you're like street smart,
Yeah.
right? So I'm more of that guy that is closer to the street smart rather than reading all those books and become book smart. So college came by, and that was the time when I took hospitality. Back then, there was nothing that is like diploma in culinary arts or degree in culinary arts that did not exist. You
Yeah.
have to take the whole diploma for hospitality. That means learning the
So it's
whole,
more general service,
yeah,
front of house,
service, and even what is that?
hostelry,
Cleaning up
hospitality.
beds, housekeeping,
Yeah.
brooming, and the floors and all
Wow.
that stuff, right? So I kind of hated that, to be honest, because we didn't pay this much money to just learn how to sweep the floors or whatever, But I get it, it's a learning in process. So I
Yeah.
talked to my one of my professor for the college, and they had this program that actually allowed me to enroll at City and Guilds Diploma in Culinary Arts. I
Hmm.
think that was based in. So I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I would like to go for that one. So I didn't finish the whole semester of hospitality. I did 2 semesters, so I didn't finish the whole year. And then I joined the Diploma of Culinary by City and Guilds, and it took me only 2 years to complete. And then
Was it
finally,
online? Was it online or was it on site?
it was practical, yes.
Practical,
It
yeah,
was on
in the
site.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Malaysian college were always attached to the British college as well. So that was
Okay.
very lucky for me.
Yeah.
So by the time I got my diploma, this is where I actually venture out to professional cooking. That's when I got my first internship job in America.
Oh yeah. Where
So
about?
in America, I was in Baltimore, near
Okay.
Washington D.C. So yeah, I was in the country club. It was called Baltimore Country Club. So they had
Okay.
this was a really good training because they had fine dining. Those were for the members that actually paid for memberships.
Hmm.
So they would go to the club, they'd come to the restaurant that they paid for, and we would serve like fine dining food, like duck confit back then, seasonal things like white asparagus and all that stuff. And I was still new. This was my
Yeah.
actual first job internship, right? And they had another side when it becomes like summer season, they would open the pool club. So the pool club is more like fast food, easy sandwiches, and all that stuff. So I learned both ways. In about 1.5 year, I was there
Yeah.
for 1.5 year. So
And after that, did you stay in the US after that, or did you move back to
no,
Malaysia?
I left the U.S. So the first time I worked, that was the internship in the U.S. And it was the first taste of having a salary,
Yeah.
right? I used to get like, if I can remember, when it's like the busy season, like let's say like July 4th, when they celebrate the Independence
Yeah.
Day and so on, I used to get probably $800 a week. That was not bad, pretty good for a new kid.
It is.
So a month you would make like almost $3,000. So I would save at least half of it. I saved half of it, and then at the end of my program, at the end of my internship, I had some savings, and then I told my dad, I was like, "Hey, I don't think I'm done yet. I don't want to go back home and try to look for a job. I want to study more because what I studied in Malaysia or what I passed for the diploma in City and Guilds, it only took me thus far.
Yeah.
And as I jumped into the fine dining in the Baltimore Country Club, I want to know more. So they were showcasing that time like European ingredients, chocolates. And so I told my dad, hey, I want to go to a culinary school, like legit culinary school, I want to get a degree. Or at that time, it was advanced diploma.
Yeah.
And I was excited. And between two schools, I was either going to go to the one in New York, Culinary Institute of America,
Yeah.
or the one in Switzerland, which right now it's called Culinary Arts Academy of Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
So both, right? But
Yeah.
it's an easy choice, no? Like, what? You want to go to New York
Europe.
and what? And or Europe. I mean, like, obviously I want to go to Europe because you can see the cheese farm, you can go to the chocolate factory.
And you're so
These
close to
things
so many countries. I mean,
where
within
fine dining.
hours. Yeah, exactly. Within hours, you can
Yeah,
just travel to all these iconic
you can
countries.
get the train. Exactly. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I was just like, I want to go to Switzerland, man. I mean, the best dairy stuff and learn the chocolates and everything. So I used most of my savings to pay for my education as well, with the help of my father, obviously. And I stayed in Switzerland studying and working for about 2 years. Yeah. And yeah, from there, I got my advanced diploma in European culinary arts. That means pastry as well, together with the
Yeah.
hot cuisine. And I worked there a little bit in Luzerne at Chateau Gouche, this little castle on the hill in Luzerne. It's still there.
Yeah.
It's owned by a Russian, by the way.
Like the typical
And
little chalet in a Swiss
yeah,
mountain, no?
yeah, but of course they have like 6 or 7 rooms that would cost you like few thousand Swiss franc per night, like that.
Yeah. Yeah, super high
So
end.
super high end. We did a lot of events, banquets. Also, obviously, the tasting menu there. I learned the degustation menu and costings. I learned a lot from the chef. The chef was Swiss German. Yeah, man, a lot of techniques. I think it was well worth it to really
Yeah.
open up the the arena for me, the world for me in culinary. So from that point onwards, I got this advanced diploma in Switzerland, and I worked in Chateau Gouche, and it just opened up the world to me.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite chef at that time, obviously not just my favorite chef, it was many people's favorite chef, I think, until now, was Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Gordon Ramsay, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I want to
There's
work with
people,
this.
it's one of these things, it's one of these people that people love him or hate him.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, I think he's a very, very accomplished chef. He's a great businessman, and he's used his aggressiveness, I want to say, on TV,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
worked. I'm not saying what he did was right, because a lot of people got abused verbally, hopefully only verbally, but yeah, he's very accomplished, and he's done a lot. So I
Yeah, I
understand
think
that
he
you
also
admired him.
attracted a lot of young chefs, to actually jump into that fine dining scene.
Yeah.
People see it's more, it's not boring at all. People like those kind
Exactly, it's
of
exciting, and
dramas.
this passion. He just shows passion in everything he does. So
Exactly, the passion. So yeah, I applied to go to one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, and I got a job. It was the opening of Gordon Ramsay in Doha. So they
was it
opened two
Maze,
restaurants.
or was it a
One, first one was Mace. That's
yeah,
correct. And then after Mace, they opened Gordon Ramsay at the St. Regis.
yeah,
So I stayed in Doha for again almost 2 years.
yeah?
And
Did
then
you
I got
did you meet your idol? Did you meet him?
I met him just once. Yeah, I met him. He's big, eh? He has like,
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe I was just like obsessing over him because I really wanted to see him. So when I
yeah.
actually saw him, it's like as if he has an aura. You know what I'm saying? Like in the kitchen.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. So that
Look,
was
Rido,
one of my.
I worked at Michel Roux's restaurant in the UK, and it's the same.
Oh,
He was
that's
at the time
yeah,
he was already stepping back from the kitchen. He was only coming sometimes, and the day he came through the kitchen, is like I remember his voice. It's like deep voice, and like everyone was just quiet, and everyone was just like almost shaking inside.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
understand
yeah.
the aura idea. It's like these guys are legends. Like they've accomplished, and
Yeah,
their
legends.
knowledge is incredible.
That time he came with who's his protege, the one that opened Mace?
Jason Atherton.
Jason Atherton.
Yeah.
So both of them were there.
Yeah.
And I
And
think they
look
were
where
like
Jason is now. I mean, he's
yeah, man.
also equally
It's
successful
good,
now.
Yeah, for sure.
So 2
But
years
we
in
did these
Dubai.
guys.
2 years in Qatar.
So 2 years in Qatar, in Doha, and then obviously I got into more what do you call this? The fashion of culinary, the culinary
Yeah,
trends,
the
right? And
trends.
then
Yeah.
I started to realize, oh shit,
What
there's
year
the
was
50
this? What
best.
year was this, Rido?
This was
Doha.
2009, 2009 until 2011. Yes, in
So
Doha.
I think it was also a time when you're talking about culinary fashion and trends. It was a time where, if I'm not wrong, Chef's Table and all these TV shows were really looking into food and really promoting like fine dining and crazy techniques and
Yes. Chef's Table came a bit later, but I remember that time. 50 best was,
yeah,
the world's 50 best, blah blah blah.
yeah.
El
This was
Bulli
the
was
list that every
there.
kitchen would be like I
Yeah, the
remember
French
buying the
Laundry was
magazine.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, oh crap, man, the world's 50 best list. And I was like, what is this? And I started looking at each restaurant that is in the top 10. I'm like, oh my God, I am nowhere in that level. Like, I need to fucking like work on
yeah,
my techniques or something like this. How do they do this? How do they how do they crystallize it, shape it into like that? So
yeah,
I left Gordon Ramsay. I really wanted to go to El Bulli. I had saved up again money, but
yeah,
then El Bulli announced 2011 that they were closed, like finish.
yeah, yeah.
And sad enough, I couldn't go there. But I left my
What was your
job
number
and
two? What was the number two after Bully in your head?
it
Because
was
at the
either
time there
El
was
Bulli,
maybe WD-50 or Alinea or this kind
yeah,
of places.
Alinea, man, Alinea, WD-50 also. Wow, man,
Yeah,
insane. The aerated foie gras, wow,
yeah,
crazy. So I didn't go to any of these restaurants. That's not so lucky for me. But then I went to Singapore. I went to Singapore because my brother, he lives there. He's a Singaporean now. He's been living there since 2006.
yeah,
I went there to stage. So the next best thing that I couldn't go to El Bulli, but I wanted to learn all these, they call it molecular
yeah.
gastronomy, but also avant-garde cuisine. In Singapore, there was Tippling Club by Ryan Clift.
Okay.
Chef Ryan Cliff, he used to be the head chef at the Voudemont in Australia, in Melbourne.
Uh-huh.
So he went to open Tippling Club back in 2008, 9, or 10. I'm not sure. I think 2010. And he was already doing like asparagus, liquid nitrogen, and all these things, that they use in El Bulli. So I was
Yeah,
like, you know what? I'll stage. So I stayed there for like 2 months,
yeah,
worked for free. The rent in Singapore was like, wow, off the roof. I was
yeah,
so broke. And then after Tippling Club for 2 months, I learned some of the molecular stuff. I staged for another 2 months at restaurant Andre.
yeah,
Andre, he's actually Taiwanese, but obviously he's lived in France for like, I don't know, 20 years of his life, so he spoke like perfect French, and you can tell by the food that he creates, and his vision is there. The octo philosophy that he had was there. So yeah, I staged for him for 2 months, and yeah, after that I went to Bangkok. I went to
After
Bangkok
that, broke.
because
Broke after 4
yeah,
months
I
in
was broke.
Singapore, being a stagiaire, which is, for the one that don't know, it's basically
Yeah, I was so
internship
broke, man.
where you work for free.
Work for free, and then I went to Bangkok because at that time my girlfriend, she was from Thailand.
Yeah,
I met her when we were studying in Switzerland, so she was
yeah.
also a chef, but she
Okay.
was pastry chef. So I came here 2000, and at the end of 2012 I came here, and I saw news, like online news about Gaggan, like a famous photo of him back then when he's carrying like a ladle with liquid nitrogen, and then the smoke is like dripping off it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this guy is doing
This is my
something
next move.
much more, before.
Yeah.
Yeah. something that interests me. I didn't want to do like classic French food or anything like that, you
Yeah.
know. So I went to Gaggan in 2013, early, like I think February or March, and I asked for him. I went to the restaurant. I asked for him, like, hey, can I see Chef Gaggan? Does he have any time to speak with me? I would like to ask if there's any open positions. You know, for anything, you can put me
Yeah.
anywhere. I was desperate, also
Yeah.
for money.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, but you were
um,
also focused. I mean, you were not just desperate, because if you were desperate, you would have gone to any
I was
place
also,
to get a job. You didn't go to any
yes,
place. You were very
yes, I didn't
focused
go.
on what you wanted. Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. So I waited for him. He wasn't around that time. So I came at around 11 a.m. and then I managed to see him at around 4 p.m. So he came, I think, 4 5 hours after that,
Yeah.
and he was telling me that, hey, we don't have any open positions, but if you want, you can be our first stagiaire. And I looked at him like, I would love to, but I can't even finance myself right now for like a week or two right now, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Um, Give me a resume. So I passed it on my resume, and he started reading them, where I worked, what I studied, and he was like, okay, you know what? Do trials, and these trials were practically for pastry only because he was looking for pastry chef,
Yeah.
and I wasn't a pastry chef at all.
Yeah.
But I worked in pastry in Gordon Ramsay as well.
Yeah.
Um, so the trial came the week after that, and I did 5 desserts
Wow.
and 2 hot courses that are like on the fly. Like I served the desserts that were planned, so I
Yeah.
made the ordering list. I prepped a few days before. I came by to his kitchen to prep, and then I presented to him and his partners, and he was like, "Wow, the desserts are nice, great." I served him like a chocolate dessert. Like I remember one of them was 7 textures of chocolate. Oof, this was very Gordon Ramsay stuff.
Sounds like there's a lot of work there.
And then something that is not dairy, like dairy free, like a fruit terrine with a
Yeah.
nice sorbet, you know, and a few others that is different desserts. And then after that, the other partners were like, "Hey, you can also cook hot food, right? So can you prepare us 2 dishes like now?" I looked at them like, "Now, okay, you know what? Screw it, let's go." So I went
Yeah.
downstairs. I just grab the things that whatever they have in their fridge. So they had scallops and stuff like that. So made something a bit classic like scallops with cauliflower risotto. I remember that. A few touches of foam, you know. And the other one I forgot. I don't know what I made. So at the end of the day, I had to wait for another like 2 weeks for the answer if I was gonna get the job or not.
Yeah.
And I waited for 2 weeks. I left Bangkok to go home, and then Gagan said yes. Please come work with me, and we can get things done together. So I started off in pastry, and then
Yeah.
I after that I helped him out in like the hot kitchen and stuff. So I do both.
Yeah. And
But I wasn't
that
the head
was
chef. I was
no,
not the head chef.
you started from the bottom, and that was
Yeah.
like 10, 11 years ago, right?
Yes, and then that was 2013, and by the time it was 2015, I was already the head chef by then because
Amazing.
our head chef back then, he was the this Indian guy. His name is Prashant, and he's a nice guy, but some things are a bit tricky with him. So he left for his holiday and never came back after that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So good for you. Good for you. You found your spot.
Thank you,
And
thank you. So yeah,
at the time, Rydo,
yeah.
Gaggan was not recognized as what it is today, right?
No, that
Were they,
time
were
we
they,
were just a normal restaurant. We were serving a la carte dishes.
yeah.
We're still serving a la carte dishes. Yes.
So what kind of food was it at the time? A la carte, but was it Indian? Was it,
Oh man,
what was
that
it?
time it was a mix because if you've been here in Bangkok around 2010, 11, 12, 13, there were a lot of Italian restaurants that are actually making good money and they were making pretty good food.
Yeah.
Even until now, these restaurants that existed way back then are still here.
Yeah.
They became like favorites of the locals. So in our a la carte, it will be Indian food, which are the curries and a couple of appetizers like Gaggan's yogurt explosion, like this,
Yeah.
that is a bit more avant-garde, and the desserts that are a bit more like European style.
Yeah.
We would still in the hot food. we have a we have a space here for the pastas.
Was it real Italian pasta or was it like a fusion
No, it
type
was
of
just
pasta?
it was just I mean, we were trying to make it like very Italian, but none of us were Italians, so I couldn't say that it was pure Italian. I mean, we made our own dough and everything, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So what made the switch to really going forward with this
So our
avant-garde
tasting menu.
cuisine and the tasting menu?
Yeah, so
So when you joined, there was no tasting menu.
there was no tasting menu yet. No,
Okay.
zero. So we went to the direction of tasting menu because I think Gagan himself, he was also in Al Buli before, right? He's touched there.
Yeah. Hmm.
And obviously, he wants to do something different than being an ordinary Indian restaurant. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to have their own character in the restaurant. So he's actually the first chef that I think in Bangkok back then, like 2014 or 15, to have a tasting menu, like a full on tasting menu. And we didn't start big with a tasting menu. We started like one, a
Yeah.
short of one, and we made the a la carte prices more expensive, so people would come to the restaurant and be like, "Oh, you know what? The tasting menu has more value." You know.
Yeah.
And then from
Clever.
one tasting menu, we created a second one, that is more in depth. And then after that, we have the third one. The third one came out like after we ran 2 years of tasting menu. The third one, we
Yeah.
called it the best of Gaggan.
Yeah.
That was by 2016. We had the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the one that was the menu was basically emojis, right? Was that the time?
Yes. Yes. And then by the time it was the emojis, it was just one tasting menu. Wow. Just
Yeah.
one. That would
Yeah.
change 3 to 4 times in a year.
Amazing. Rydo,
Yeah.
in one of your on your Instagram, one of the first photos is I think it's from 2015 or something. You posted a photo of a spoon with the yogurt ravioli on it, and you just said starting. Did you feel like you were starting something
Which one
big at
was
the
that?
time, or
With the yogurt spoon.
yeah? It's one photo of it's a silver spoon with the ravioli on it, the yogurt ravioli or the yogurt explosion.
The yogurt
as,
explosion.
And you just say starting. Was that the start of the tasting menu, or was it the start for you that you felt like you were going towards something different and bigger?
Probably is the I just gotta look at the photo properly so I will know and
Yeah, you will
understand
remember
what
it.
I was because during that time we are so booked out all the time.
Yeah, you must have it busy.
We're always yes, and the restaurant would run 7 days a week,
Whoa,
365 days a year.
crazy. It's an old
This
one. It's
was
from
way back
2015, I think.
2015.
Yeah,
Could it have been the pop-up or something?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure which photo that is. Here. Starting,
Yeah,
right?
that's the one. Yeah.
This wasn't in Gaggan. This was a pop-up, you see?
Okay.
This was a pop-up in I think it was in India. Yeah. This was in India. So we would go to India every now and then. I mean, we would go to India every year, but like a
Yeah.
couple trips per year. Yeah. Like
And
in next week, I'm going to India already, to Bangalore.
Okay. And what are you doing? You're doing a pop-up there as well?
Pop-up, yes, with the JW Marriott team
So how
in
long is that
Bangalore.
for? Is that for a week or is it just a few days?
So the event itself is on the 24th, 25th. That's 2 days. And obviously, I need like a whole day of preparation on the 23rd. But we're flying on the 21st, night flight. So it would be about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the usual time is always 4 days.
You guys are busy, yeah? You guys are busy. I saw that you were running also Gaggan at Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
You did a little bit of you did something in Japan as well. You've done a lot.
So the one right now in Bangkok, we have three. I would call it outlets. Three
Yeah.
outlets. Gaggan itself, the chef table. That we do 14 seats per round. We do 2 rounds per day.
14. Ah, okay. So it's
So a
it's
total
much
of
smaller than
28.
before. Yeah.
Yes, and here you can actually see Gaggan doing the service.
Yeah.
Explaining to you dishes by dishes, course by
Yeah.
course. It's pretty fun too. There's a couple of tricks within the chef counter.
Yeah.
And then if you go upstairs on the second floor of the building, you'll find Miss Maria Mrs. Singh. That is the Mexican Indian.
Is it the same location as before? The restaurant?
No.
It's
It
a new
has
one.
changed.
Okay.
So we moved to the same building of where Gaggan is since the COVID.
Yeah.
And
Tell me
then
about Mrs. Maria and Mr. Singh. What's the concept here?
Miss Maria Mrs. Singh. Yes, Miss Maria Mrs. Singh is the concept that came around 2019. I think yes, 2019. Me and Gaggan, we've gone to Mexico maybe like 3 times.
Yeah.
And those 3 times we always have a pop-up, but also we managed to like explore some restaurants, farms, cactus farms,
Yeah.
and we would find similarities to the Indian cuisine. How they
Yeah.
have their salsas, and if you just put a little bit of cumin, that's what the salsas they would use inside a golgappa in
Yeah.
India. And also like the leche de tigre or the aguachile they call it, no, in Mexico.
Yeah.
They would have the same thing like what they have in India that's called pani puri. So we marry them together, and we have a tasting menu in Miss Mary Mrs. Singh as well, about 12 courses, but it's for sharing, and we have a la carte as well. That
Yeah.
you can have best of two of the best worlds, which is tacos and curries at the same place.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You should come by.
I will next
When was
time
the last
I'm in
time you were in
Thailand.
Bangkok?
Last time was
When was
when
the
I
last
ate at Gaggan. So that was 2000. I'm gonna
That was
say
way back.
2016 or 17, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was still the old location. We were upstairs at the chef's counter. Like you had like a
Yes, the glass house.
yeah, incredible experience. I mean, you guys, you've created more than just
Now
just a
it's
menu.
crazier.
Yeah.
Now if you go to the chef counter, man, Jesus Christ, there's a disco ball. So you can already imagine what's gonna happen there.
I need to go. I need to try it. All right, I'll put down on my list of the
Sure.
my goal,
Let me know.
vision board. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be a pleasure. It would be awesome. Rydo, you also participate in the what is it? UFF Ubud Food Festival. Tell me a little bit
UFF
about
is,
this.
yeah. So they do this, I think, every year, and they get basically the local chefs from Indonesia, and
Yeah.
whoever's Indonesian chef that is outside of Indonesia also gets invited. I was invited again this year, but I couldn't go. So basically, they showcase the chefs, upcoming restaurants, ingredients, classes,
Yeah.
for the local guys, just to bring up the name of Indonesia. Yeah, that's good.
And you go every year there? You participate every year, or you try?
No. This year I was invited, by I didn't have time to go.
Yeah.
I would love to go every year, to be honest,
Yeah.
but I have to keep up with my schedule with my reality 3 outlets here. So
I understand.
Yeah.
No, you must be super busy because I know Gaggan is the kind of the public figure in front of the restaurant.
yeah.
But then you need someone in the kitchen to run things and
To
to
actually
keep the
maintain,
standards and
yes.
the consistency. So that's you, right? You're the main
Yes.
guy.
I'm the main guy, but I also have 3 head chefs that are under me, which I
Yeah.
always check up on them on. Basically,
Yeah.
if we change menu in any of these outlets, I would go and then discuss with the techniques and stuff, and
You
I would
collaborate.
try
Yeah.
recipes. Yes,
Yeah.
always that's my job. For
Yeah.
hiring as well, interviewing people, the chefs, food costing as well, the menu costing.
So
as
when
well.
you hired people, Rydo, do you ask them to do a 7-course trial?
Oh no, I don't do that. that would really make them feel, sometimes they're motivated to do that, but I think some of them, especially nowadays, I think they will feel too pressured. So I
Yeah,
would actually interview them on a couple of techniques if they know or not, just by talking, and
yeah,
then I would invite them to come to the kitchen to just work for 1 or 2 days, and that's it.
yeah.
And then
See
I
if they
get
like
my
it as well.
yeah,
Do you have people coming
exactly.
from everywhere in the world, or you have a lot of locals, or what's the type of people that work in these kitchens?
We only get people from outside the country for staging in Gaggan.
Yeah,
Because we can't do that on the other two restaurants,
yeah,
and we only limit three people for 2 months per 2 months.
yeah. So it's very
Yeah.
limited. Do you have a lot
Mhm.
of applicants?
We have a lot. We already
Yeah,
filled up this year until
yeah.
March next year,
Wow,
but because it's
that's
only
good.
three.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
In the
it's a
old
very limited
restaurant where
spot.
you ate in the old location,
Yeah,
we had 28 to 30
wow.
every 2 months.
It's a lot
It
of
was a
people.
different thing. That
Yeah,
was
different
a
menu, different techniques, different setup, I guess.
Yes, totally different setup. That time there was 120 guests every night, 7 days a week.
Yeah,
It was crazy. Yeah.
crazy, crazy. So, do you feel like there was an episode of Chef Table that was shot on Gaggan, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Were you at the restaurant at the time? Yes, you were there.
Yes, that's season two, episode 6 or 5. That was
Yeah.
like that one.
Do you feel like
That was our
there was a boost in customer and in just
100%.
yeah,
Because they have asked me a question like this before. This was about the Michelin.
yeah.
Like they would ask, like, did the Michelin give you guys a boost or recognition, blah blah blah. I mean, of course, everything will give will we are thankful for these awards, but
Awards with an S because there's many. We can I can just mention it on a introduction. But there's like
yes, but
best restaurant in Asia, one of the top restaurant in the world, Michelin star, multiple Michelin star, 2 Michelin star, I think. A
yes,
lot of TV shows, a lot of articles, a lot of press,
yeah, a
basically.
lot of talk about it. Yes, of course, but the Netflix chef table really took us to the next level, where Gaggan himself, the man himself, he has become, I think right now is a legendary status, like, for a chef.
He's a celebrity, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, big
yeah,
time. And he's not that old, to be honest. He's like 44, 45. He's like 45, 46.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's achieved that 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's very short. It's a very short
For
period
that
of time.
Netflix.
Yeah, but obviously,
So
yeah,
Netflix,
like you
yeah,
said, there's a team behind as well. There's a lot of people. There's people like yourself and the other head chefs that contribute
yeah,
and assist in delivering this consistency. Because again, I just want to press on that consistency is so important when you have this kind of restaurant
of
because
course.
it's hard to keep consistency in a regular restaurant. But once you have
Yeah,
an award or once you are like the one to watch or the best of whatever, people have
yes,
extremely high expectations. So you have to be
exactly.
focused all the time.
I
Do
think
you
for the
guys still
team
work?
is everything.
Yeah, yeah. Without the team, you cannot do that. It's impossible.
Cannot.
Do you guys still work 7 days a week?
No, 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 no. No way, Chris. We're not that young anymore. We stopped the 7 days from the old restaurant. So the old restaurant was 7 days all the way until 2018. 2019, we decided to close the restaurant 1 day per week. But
Hang
everybody
on.
still
So
gets
you
food.
worked. Hang on. Are you telling me you worked for 3 or 4 years every day?
6 days. Six
6 days.
days.
Wow, that's
6 days
intense.
for more than 4 years. 6 days.
Yeah.
More than 4
Wow,
years.
it's incredible. It's incredible. And
Was
Rido, what's would you ever open your own restaurant?
Yes, I would. I would. I would. So I have already planned some stuff,
Yeah.
and hopefully I'm taking. Hopefully Gagan can give me the support as well. So I am
Yeah.
trying to take him to Indonesia, to
Yeah.
Jakarta,
Uh huh.
because as of now, FMB is looking pretty good in
Yeah.
Jakarta. I can think that it's 10 to 12 years behind Bangkok, but it will reach like Bangkok in 10 years time. So it's a good opportunity that I want to show him by the end of this year. And I am not in a rush to open my own place because I know that it's every chef's dream to have their own place, and they want to do this, they want to do that, I want to do it
Yeah.
like that. I have already passed that time. I think I am matured enough to make a decision that is based on reality
Yeah.
and based on what you have. You know, you can't just be a dreamer all the time, right? You need to lower down some things and deal with it. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see how it
And
goes.
what do you have in mind? What's your vision? Would it be a little bit crazy like Gaggan is, if I can use this term, or would it be modern, but
I would.
still like traditional, or would it be just traditional?
So I already have a concept in mind
Yeah.
because from my experience and so on, I am not always tied into one cuisine. Even
Yeah.
Gaggan himself, if you go to Gaggan now, there are flavors of Indian food because he's Indian, but
Yeah.
there are more techniques or even ingredients that are from outside of India.
Yeah.
Way more, right? Because you want to show that you're capable of getting this stuff and you're capable of preparing these things, as a chef.
Yeah.
And some things, if you only source from one place, is quite limited. So
Yeah.
you want to broaden up your resources. Um, well, I came about a concept of my own that is going to be past, present, future.
Okay.
That's it. So
So
I
you do
can
want to
cook
blend all
whatever
of
I want.
this. Yeah, but it's good. You have a guideline. You have a theme, and then you can,
Yeah.
people can understand a little bit that it's going to be a bit of a tradition, a bit of a trend, and a bit of futuristic ideas, perhaps, in your
Yes.
dishes.
Yes. Yes. I
Yeah,
already have it. The concept in my head. It's just that it's still it's still there up in the clouds, but I know it can work. I know it can work.
yeah.
I know it'll be different. It's what I'm trying to achieve is to be different. So yeah.
Are you worried to leave Gaggan behind, or do you feel like it's still going to be supporting
Oh
you no
no,
matter
no,
what you do?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I know that because now he has agreed to come to Jakarta to see the city, to explore together with me. So I mean, we've
Step
been
one.
together in this journey, in this ride for too long, and it's just like,
Yeah,
what's the point of just? It's like having a girlfriend for 12 years and then
you don't get married.
you don't even become friends or anything. That's come on, it's.
Yeah,
So I really wish that he would come with me and that we come up with a good deal, and then
yeah,
Asian and wise, and then he'll be there as a shareholder, of course, of the
yeah.
restaurant as well.
No, that's amazing. It would be an amazing thing, and I wish it happened for you. That's a great great
Thank you,
plan.
Chris.
Is
Thank you.
it hard to keep up with Gaggan?
Oh, so hard. Because he's an artist. Like I can see some artists that are like, very organized, but really, if an artist that is like a painter or a chef, sometimes they're very different when they think of
Different.
this. Yeah, different in a certain reactions towards the situation that they are currently in. Like okay, Rydo, today we're doing the pop up. Let's say India. The India is coming up within a few days. Okay, Rydo, this is the dish. Blah blah blah. Okay, you have the menu. Perfect. Can we not do this? I just saw something, and let's do it like that with this flavor that I just tasted. So it's you need to be spontaneous, and
Yeah,
for me, because I work for him, I need to be very flexible.
yeah. But
So it's
it's a
quite
great talent. It's a great advantage to be able to do that.
yes, and he also has pretty cool things that is like he thinks outside the box. So we would get some
Yeah,
ideas that sometimes I wouldn't even think of, like holy shit, how did you come up with that? Like, oh, I just watched this movie. Like,
yeah.
what? Like this.
When do you have time to watch a movie? First of all.
And then he would send me like videos or stuff like that in Instagram. Like, come on, man. I don't know what you want now.
No, but that's great. It seems like you have a great friendship with him now, and it's amazing to see. So I'm glad you're happy where you are today. Rydo, first of all, just a quick thing. I realize I've been calling you Rydo since the beginning of the pod.
It's
Rydo,
both ways.
right?
In Indonesia,
Both ways.
they call me Rydo.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I actually called you like your mother would call you, right?
Yes. Rydo. Exactly.
All right, Rydo.
Yeah.
You shared something with me once. You said like one of your dreams would be to be cooking for a Formula One team.
Oh yes, I love
Why?
Formula One. Chris, you have no idea. Since I was a young boy, 7 or 8 years old, I would literally watch. I wouldn't miss a single race every Sunday, either for MotoGP or Formula One. And I used to cut up these articles that is in the sports news like that. I would cut it up. I would have an album of the drivers and the cars or the motorbikes. So I've always have this thing for Formula One, especially up until now.
Yeah. Let's make this happen.
I love it.
Like I'll reach out to all my contacts and we try to get you on a, it's a conversation we had before, but we'll try to get you on the boat at some point, and you can do a special guest, and Monaco Grand Prix could be a good one.
I would definitely bring Gaggan as well, because he knows that I love Formula One too. So I've been asking him, hey man, why don't we go to like Singapore and cook something up? As of now, it's within the talks, but it's not yet there for us because we're not in Singapore. We're based here. So
Well, let's talk again and we'll make it happen.
We
can set up a pop-up. We can set up a Gaggan pop-up in Monaco for the Grand Prix.
I saw, I managed to get this guy, Alexander Albon, the guy that's driving for the Williams. He's from Thailand. He came to Miss Maria, Mrs. Singh to eat.
Amazing.
I was so excited.
See, you're getting closer. You're so close to the dream.
Yeah. I was at the outlet in the Louis Vuitton one during service, and then I got this call. Hey, Alexander Albon is here. I'm like, what? And then I went there within 1 hour.
Amazing. All right, Rydo. Last questions. This one is a little bit unusual, but I've got a magic wand, and you get to spend an hour with someone to have dinner with him or with her, past or present. Who do you choose?
Wow, man. I mean, if I really want to have a nice sit down and a dinner, past or present, just one person.
Yes, anyone.
It's tough.
Tough because
there's always my mom. No, obviously, there's always my mom that I want to spend time with all the time, and she's getting old.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you let me choose another person, I would say Lewis Hamilton, Formula One driver.
Amazing. So then there you go. We'll set up a dinner for you, your mom, and Lewis Hamilton.
Thank you.
That would be incredible.
That would be crazy. My mom would be like, "Who is this guy?"
Don't worry about it. Just enjoy.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, Rydo. Thank you so much for the time. It was amazing to learn about your journey and what you're doing now and what your plans are. And I'm really, really grateful you took the time to share all of this with us.
It's all good. Anytime, Chris. And let me know if there's anything for the onboard stuff. I still want to cook in the yacht as well.
You will.
Not even once I bet.
You will. It's going to happen.
I met a friend of mine that he's now opened a restaurant in Singapore, and he told me he was cooking in the yacht during the COVID times, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
In the Mediterranean, and it was between Ibiza and what's that other island? Saint-Tropez?
Mallorca?
Somewhere there. And he was like, wow, what an experience. So,
yeah.
And I asked him, would you do it again? And then he looked at me, yes, I would do it again, but I would need like you to come with me or something like that. So,
yeah, it's hard. It's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. But yeah, you do get to see some amazing places, and being on a multi-million-dollar vessel, it's incredible. Yeah. You feel very privileged. So that's we'll try to make it happen. All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Rydo.